Princess Zalara Velkathan stood at the viewing window of her diplomatic ship. The stars stretched before her like scattered diamonds. She was the third daughter of Queen Morava, ruler of the Volanthi Empire. Her people controlled 17 star systems. They were powerful, ancient, and proud. The Volanthi were not like other species. They looked like tall insects with smooth shells that changed color with their moods. They did not feel emotions the way others did. They made decisions through logic and careful thinking. Feelings were considered weakness. Attachments were dangerous. Zalara had never questioned this. She was raised to be cold, calculating, perfect. The ship was traveling through contested space near the human frontier. Humans were a young species. The Volanthi considered them primitive and emotional. They were tolerated, but never respected. Zalara had never spoken to a human. She had no desire to. Then the attack came. The Crixian raiders appeared from behind an asteroid field. They were brutal mercenaries who captured royalty for ransom. Their ships surrounded the diplomatic vessel within minutes. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Guards rushed to battle stations. Zylara's attendants pushed her toward the escape pods. "You must survive, Princess," her chief guard said. "The Empire needs you alive." Zalara did not argue. She climbed into the escape pod and launched into space. Through the small window, she watched her ship explode in a ball of fire. Everyone aboard died. She felt nothing. She was Valanthi. She was trained not to feel. But then her pod began to fail. The control panel flickered with red warnings. The oxygen system was damaged. The navigation was broken. She drifted toward a dead moon with no way to call for help. Zalara calculated her survival chances. They were very low. She would die here, alone in the cold dark of space. She accepted this fact with the calm her people were famous for. Hours passed. Her breathing became difficult. The oxygen was running out. Then a light appeared in the darkness. A ship approached her pod. It was small and old, covered in patches and repairs. The words "Persistent Hope" were painted on its side. A human ship. Zalara watched as the ship pulled her pod into its cargo bay. She was too weak to resist. She could barely breathe. The pod door opened. A human male stood there. He was tall, with dark hair and tired eyes. His clothes were worn but clean. He looked at her with an expression she did not understand. "Easy now," he said. His voice was gentle. "You're safe. I've got you." He reached into the pod and lifted her out. No one had ever touched her this way. Volanthi law forbade non-royalty from touching the royal family. A human touching a princess was unthinkable. She tried to speak, to protest. But the darkness took her. When Zalara awoke, she was lying on a small bed in a cramped room. The human sat nearby, watching her with concern. A medical device was attached to her arm. "Your oxygen levels are back to normal," he said. "You're going to be fine." Zalara sat up slowly. Her body felt weak, but stable. She looked at the human with cold eyes. "She touched me," she said. "You touched a Volanthi princess. Do you know the punishment for this?" The human shrugged. "You were dying. That's all that mattered." Zalara stared at him. She did not understand. He had risked serious consequences to save someone he did not know. Someone who was not even his species. "Why?" she demanded. "Why did you save me? You could have ignored my distress signal. You could have taken my body for ransom. Why risk trouble with the Volanthi Empire?" The human laughed softly. It was a strange sound, warm and honest. "My name is Marcus Cole," he said. "I used to be a military officer. Now I haul salvage between star systems. I picked up your signal and came to help. That's it. No complicated reason." "That is illogical," Zalara said. "You gained nothing from saving me." "I gained something," Marcus said. "I gotta save a life today. That matters to me." Zalara did not know how to respond. Her people did nothing without calculation. Every action had purpose and payment. This human had risked everything for a stranger and wanted nothing in return. It was foolish. It was irrational. It was deeply disturbing, and somehow it was beautiful. "The Crixians are still hunting you," Marcus said. "My ship took damage in an asteroid field last week. We can't outrun them if they find us. But I can get you to Velanthi territory in about 3 weeks, if we stay quiet and move carefully." 3 weeks, Zalara said. "I must travel with you for 3 weeks? Unless you have a better option." She did not. Her escape pod was destroyed. Her people thought she was dead. Marcus Cole and his damaged ship were her only hope of survival. "Very well," she said. "I will travel with you. But you will address me as princess. You will not touch me again. You will remember your place." Marcus smiled. It was a strange smile, like he found her amusing. "Sure thing, princess. Whatever you say." Zalara had a feeling he did not mean it. That night, she lay awake in the small room Marcus had given her. It smelled like oil and metal and something else. Something human. She thought about his words. You were dying. That's all that mattered. Her people would never say such a thing. They would calculate the political cost. They would consider the benefits. They would make decisions based on logic and advantage. Marcus Cole had simply acted. He saw someone in trouble, and he helped. It was instinct. It was compassion. Zalara had been taught that compassion was weakness. But Marcus did not seem weak. He seemed strong in a way she did not understand. 3 weeks. She would spend 3 weeks with this strange human. She told herself it would be a simple journey. She would return to her empire, resume her duties, and forget this encounter. She was wrong. She would never forget Marcus Cole. He would change everything. The persistent. Hope was nothing like the royal ship Zalara knew. It was small, cramped, and old. The walls made strange noises at night. The food was simple and bland. There were no servants, no luxuries, no comforts. Zalara hated it. She hated the narrow corridors. She hated the recycled air. She hated sharing space with a human who treated her like an ordinary person. Marcus Cole did not bow to her. He did not use formal titles unless she reminded him. He spoke to her like an equal, which was unacceptable. She was royalty. He was nothing. But as the days passed, something strange began to happen. She started to listen. Marcus talked while he worked on the ship. He talked while he cooked their meals. He talked while he checked the navigation systems. He talked about everything and nothing. "Humans are strange creatures," he told her one evening. "We know we're going to die someday. We know the universe doesn't care about us, but we keep going anyway. We build things. We love people. We hope for better days." "I don't know if that's brave or stupid." "It sounds stupid," Zalara said. Marcus laughed. "Probably. But it's who we are." She learned things about humans that her education had never taught her. She learned that they formed attachments quickly and deeply. They could meet a stranger and care about them within hours. This seemed dangerous and foolish to her. She learned that they created art not for status or political gain, but simply because they felt things and wanted to express those feelings. Marcus showed her music from Earth, strange sounds that made her feel strange things. She learned that humans could override their survival instincts. They would run into fire to save strangers. They would sacrifice their lives for people they loved. This was impossible for Velanthi. Survival was the primary directive. But the most disturbing thing she learned was about hope. "Hope is when you keep trying, even when you know you might fail," Marcus explained. "It's believing that tomorrow might be better than today. It's not logical. It's not rational. But it keeps us alive." "That is the most illogical thing I have ever heard," Zalara said. Marcus said, "But it works." One night, the ship was quiet. The stars drifted past the windows. Marcus sat in the pilot seat, staring at nothing. His face was sad in a way Zalara had never seen. "Tell me about Earth," she said. She did not know why she asked. She told herself it was research. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Earth was beautiful," he said. "Blue oceans, green forests, cities that touched the sky. I grew up in a small town near mountains. I married a woman named Sarah. We had a daughter named Lily. He paused. His voice became heavy. The Varax plague came to our colony 7 years ago. It killed millions. Sarah and Lily were among them. I held my daughter as she died. She was only 6 years old. Xylara did not know what to say. Valanthi did not discuss death this way. They did not share pain. I should have died with them, Marcus continued. I wanted to. For months, I wanted to just stop existing. But something in me refused to give up. I don't know why. I don't know if that's strength or stupidity. Humans break, he said softly. But we don't stay broken. We rebuild. We keep going. It's the only thing we know how to do. Xylara felt something move in her chest. It was uncomfortable and confusing. She did not like it. I am sorry for your loss, she said. The words felt strange on her tongue. Valanthi did not apologize. They did not express sympathy. Marcus looked at her. His eyes were wet. Humans leaked water from their eyes when they were sad. It was a strange biological response. Thank you, he said. That means a lot. They sat together in silence. The stars continued their endless dance after that night. Things changed between them. Xylara found herself seeking Marcus's company. She told herself it was because the ship was small and there was nowhere else to go. But she knew that was not the whole truth. She began to anticipate his voice, his laughter, the way he looked at stars like they were old friends. She noticed the kindness in his eyes, the gentleness in his hands, the quiet strength in his spirit. She was feeling things. Real things. This should have been impossible. Valanthi did not form attachments to other species. Their biology prevented it, yet here she was, caring about a human. Then the Crixians found them. The attack came without warning. 3 raider ships appeared on the sensors. They were faster and better armed than the Persistent Hope. Hold on, Marcus shouted. This is going to get rough. He flew the ship like a madman. He used asteroids for cover. He vented engine gases to confuse their targeting. He did things that no Valanthi pilot would ever consider. A plasma blast hit the hull. Marcus was thrown from his seat. When he stood up, his arm was burned badly. The skin was red and blistered. But he kept fighting. He led the Crixians into a dense nebula cloud. Their sensors became confused. He powered down the ship and waited in complete darkness. The raiders searched for them for hours before finally giving up. When it was over, Marcus collapsed against the wall. His arm was shaking with pain. Xylara knelt beside him. She took medical supplies and began treating his wound. Her hands trembled. She had never touched another being with such care. You saved me again, she said. Getting to be a habit, he said weakly. She looked at his face. This strange, impossible human who kept risking everything for her. Why do you protect me? She asked. I have been cold to you. I have treated you like a servant. Why do you continue to save me? Marcus looked at her. His eyes were soft, despite his pain. Because you're worth saving, he said simply. Even if you don't know it yet. Something broke inside Xylara. Something ancient and carefully constructed crumbled away. She was feeling, not the dull Valanthi approximation of emotion, but something raw and real and overwhelming. She cared about this human. She cared deeply, and she had no idea what to do about it. The next morning, they reached a neutral station. A Valanthi patrol would retrieve her within hours. She should have felt relieved. She was going home. She would be safe. Instead, she felt loss. Cold, terrible loss. Before she left, Marcus gave her a small gift. It was a delicate bird made from folded paper. A crane. Humans fold these for luck, he explained. It's an old tradition. So you remember that not everything has to serve a purpose. Some things can just be beautiful. Xylara took the paper crane. She held it like it was precious. She should have refused it. It was inappropriate. It meant something. She took it anyway. Goodbye, Marcus Cole, she said. Goodbye, Princess, he said. Take care of yourself. She walked away. She did not look back. She could not. But she kept the crane hidden in her robes. Close to her heart, She would never forget him. The palace of Kethvaras was beautiful. Crystal towers reached toward purple skies. Gardens of luminescent flowers covered the grounds. Everything was perfect, controlled, and cold. Xylara had lived here all her life. It was her home. But when she returned from her journey, it felt like a prison. The Volanthi court welcomed her return with proper ceremony. Her mother, Queen Mariva, examined her with ancient eyes that missed nothing. "You survived," the queen said. "This is acceptable." "Thank you, mother," Xylara replied with a bow. There was no warmth in the greeting. There never was. Volanthi did not show affection. They showed approval or disapproval. Nothing more. The investigation into the Crixian attack revealed disturbing truths. The attack was not random. It was funded by rivals within the Empire who wanted to destabilize the royal bloodline. War was coming. Alliances needed to be secured. Queen Moriva summoned Xylara to the throne room 1 week after her return. "The Empire requires stability," the queen announced. "You will be bonded to High Commander Vorthicon. This union will unite the military factions with the royal house. It will strengthen us against our enemies." Vorthicon was a powerful warrior. He commanded the largest fleet in the Empire. He was also cold, ambitious, and terrifying. Xylara had met him several times. She felt nothing for him, but that was normal. Volanthi bonding was political calculation, not emotional connection. "I understand, mother," Xylara said. "I will do my duty." The queen nodded. "The ceremony will occur in 2 months. Prepare yourself." Xylara returned to her chambers. She stood at the window and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, a small ship called the Persistent Hope was traveling through space. Somewhere out there, Marcus Cole was living his life. She had not stopped thinking about him. His words echoed in her mind constantly. His kindness haunted her dreams. The paper crane sat hidden in a secret compartment in her room. She looked at it every night. This was wrong. This was dangerous. This was impossible. But she could not stop using the highest encryption available. Xylara sent a message to a human communication network. She told herself she simply wanted to thank Marcus properly. The Volanthi had offered him a reward for saving her. She wanted to ensure he received it. He responded within hours. "I didn't save you for money," his message said. "I refused the reward. I saved you because it was the right thing to do. No payment needed." Xylara read the message 5 times. She did not understand. How could someone refuse wealth? How could someone act without expecting return? She wrote back. She asked questions about human culture, human behavior, human emotions. She told herself it was academic research. Marcus answered every question with patience and honesty. He shared stories about his life, his travels, his dreams. He asked about her life too. No one had ever asked about her personal experiences before. Their conversations continued for weeks, then months. They became the most important part of Xylara's day. She found herself rushing through her duties just to check for his messages. She was changing. She could feel it happening. The cold shell around her heart was cracking. Emotions she had never known existed were flooding through her. She laughed at his jokes. She worried when he mentioned danger. She felt warm when he called her by her name instead of her title. She was developing attachment to a human. This was biologically impossible for her species. Volanthi could not bond emotionally with outsiders. Their neurochemistry prevented it. Yet here she was, caring for Marcus Cole more than she had ever cared for anyone. Her eldest sister, Kethmera, noticed the change. Kethmera was wise and observant. She saw the way Xylara smiled at her communication device. She noticed the distraction during court functions. She investigated. One evening, she came to Xylara's chambers unannounced. "I know what you are doing," Kethmera said. "I have accessed your communication logs. You have been speaking with the human who saved you." Xylara's blood turned cold. "Sister, I can explain. You're developing attachment to him," Kethmera continued. "I can see it in your behavior. This should be impossible for our species. Yet here you stand, transformed by human contact." Xylara could not deny it. She had hidden the truth from everyone, but she could not hide it from herself. I do not understand what is happening to me, she admitted. I feel things, Kethmara. Real things. When I think of him, I feel warmth. When I imagine never seeing him again, I feel pain. This is not how we are supposed to be. Kethmara studied her for a long moment. Humans are known to change those they encounter, she said. Their emotional intensity is contagious. Perhaps their influence has altered your neurochemistry in unexpected ways. Is that possible? Apparently so. Kethmara's expression hardened. But this cannot continue. You are promised to Vorthicon. If the Queen discovers your attachment to this human, the consequences will be severe. Zalara knew this was true. Relationships with other species were forbidden. Emotional weakness in the royal family was unacceptable. She would be disgraced at minimum. At worst, she would be exiled or eliminated. You have a choice, Kethmara said. End the contact forever. Proceed with your bonding to Vorthicon. Fulfill your duty to the Empire, or I will be forced to inform the Queen. Zalara's heart shattered. She finally understood why humans feared loss. This pain was unbearable. How long do I have? She asked. One night. Decide by morning. Kethmara left. Zalara sat alone in her chambers, holding the paper crane Marcus had given her. She had to say goodbye. She had to end this. Her duty was clear. Her path was set. She began writing a message. Marcus, do not come to the Empire. Forget me. This is goodbye. What we have is impossible. I must return to what I was. Please understand. Her finger hovered over the send command. She could not press it. Tears fell from her eyes. She had never cried before. She did not know Valanthe could cry. She deleted the message. She could not say goodbye. She would not abandon what she had found with Marcus, even if it destroyed her, but she also could not continue as before. Kethmara would report her. The Queen would discover everything. There was only one option left. She had to find a way to change everything. She did not know how. She did not know if it was possible. But Marcus had taught her about hope. Continuing effort despite logical certainty of failure? Perhaps. It was time to be a little bit human. Zalara stood at her window and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, Marcus Cole was looking at the same stars. She would find a way back to him, or she would die trying. The bonding ceremony was only 3 days away. Diplomatic ships arrived from across the 17-star. Systems. Palace of Kethvara is filled with nobles, commanders, and political representatives. Zalara moved through the preparations like a ghost. She smiled when expected. She spoke the proper words. She wore the ceremonial robes. But inside she was hollow. Kethmara had kept her secret for now. But time was running out. Soon, Zalara would be bonded to Vorthicon. She would become his partner, his political asset. His possession she would never see. Marcus again. The thought was unbearable. Among the arriving delegations was a small human trade envoy. Humans were not important enough for major diplomatic attention. But they maintained minor trading relationships with the Empire. No one paid much attention to them. No one except Zalara. She recognized him immediately, even in his formal human clothes. Marcus Cole had come to Kethvara's. Her heart stopped. Her blood froze. What was he doing here? It was dangerous beyond measure. If anyone discovered who he was, if anyone learned of their connection, they would both be destroyed. She could not approach him publicly. She had to wait. That night, under cover of darkness, she went to the memorial gardens. It was a quiet place where the dead were honored. No one visited at night. Marcus was waiting. Seeing him again broke something inside her. All the walls she had built, all the controls she had maintained, collapsed in an instant. She ran to him. She stopped just short of touching him. You were supposed to forget me, she said. Her voice was shaking. Humans don't work that way, Marcus replied. You should not be here. It is too dangerous. If they discover you, I know the risks. His eyes were serious, determined. But I couldn't stay away. Not when you're in danger. I am not in danger. I am simply fulfilling my duty. Marcus shook his head. That's not why I'm here. Zilara, I've been investigating the Crixian attack that almost killed you. I've spent months following the money, tracking the orders, finding the source. A cold fear crept into her chest. What did you find? The attack was funded by High Commander Vorthikin himself. Your intended bondmate tried to have you killed. Zilara stepped back. The world tilted around her. That is impossible. Why would he attempt to kill me before our bonding? Because the bonding is just the first step, Marcus explained. Vorthicon wants to eliminate the entire royal bloodline. He plans to marry into your family, gain legitimacy, and then remove the queen and her daughters, one by one. Once he has power, he will rule the empire himself. You have proof of this? Marcus pulled out a data device. Everything is here. Communications between Vorthicon and the Crixian commanders, financial records, witness statements. Human documentation methods cannot be tampered with by Valanthi technology. This evidence is solid. Zilara took the device. Her hands were trembling. Everything she knew was falling apart. She had been prepared to sacrifice her happiness for duty. She had accepted bonding to a man she did not love. But Vorthicon was not just cold and ambitious. He was a murderer, a traitor. He would kill her mother. He would kill her sisters. He would destroy everything. Why did you bring this yourself? She asked. You could have sent it through diplomatic channels. You did not need to risk coming here. Marcus looked at her. His eyes were soft and full of something she was only beginning to understand. Because I wanted to give you a choice, he said. You can expose Vorthicon. Use this evidence to destroy him. Save your family. But it will shatter the alliance your mother built. It will create chaos in the empire. What is my other choice? Come with me. Zilara stared at him. She was not sure she had heard correctly. Leave the empire, Marcus continued. Leave your title, your duties, your entire life behind. Come with me into human space. Choose yourself for once, instead of everyone else. I cannot abandon my family. My people, I know. Marcus smiled sadly. I knew you would say that. But I had to offer. I had to let you know that you have options. You don't have to be trapped. Alara moved closer to him. She was breaking every law, every tradition, every rule she had ever known. She did not care. Why? She demanded. Why risk everything for me? I am not your species. I am not your responsibility. Why do you keep saving me? Marcus took her hands in his. It was the first time anyone had touched her with such gentleness, such love. Because you matter, he said. Not your title, not your bloodline, not your political value, you just you. That's how humans love, Zilara. We don't calculate. We don't strategize. We just feel, and we follow our hearts. The word hit her like lightning. Love. Humans spoke it so easily, but Marcus meant it absolutely. I do not know how to love, she whispered. I was not made for it. Maybe not before, Marcus said. But you're learning. I see it in you. You've already changed more than you know. His footsteps echoed in the darkness. Guards were approaching. The human. A voice shouted. Seize him. Marcus tensed to run, but there was nowhere to go. Guards surrounded them, weapons raised. High Commander Vorthicon stepped forward, his eyes burning with cold fury. I suspected something, Vorthicon said. The princess has been distracted. Her loyalty seemed uncertain. Now I understand why. She has been corrupted by human contamination. Step away from her, a guard commanded Marcus. Before anyone could move, Zilara stepped in front of Marcus. He is under my protection, she declared. The guards froze. No one expected this. A Valanthi princess defending a human was unthinkable. Vorthicon laughed coldly. Protection. You protect an inferior species. You disgrace yourself. The only disgrace here is you, Zilara said. She held up the data device. I know what you did, Vorthicon. I know you funded the Crixians. I know you tried to kill me. I know you planned to destroy the royal bloodline. Vorthicon's expression flickered. Just for a moment, fear crossed his face. Lies, he said. Human fabrication. Human evidence cannot be altered by Velanthy methods. You know this. Everyone knows this. Xylara looked at the guards. Every one of you serves the queen. Will you follow a traitor? Will you let him destroy the empire? The guards hesitated. They looked at each other, uncertain. The queen Xylara commanded, "Let her see this evidence. Let her judge." One of the guards nodded slowly. He activated his communication device. Vorthicon stepped forward, rage in his eyes. "You foolish girl. You have destroyed yourself for a human," Xylara said. "I have found myself. For the first time in my life, I know who I am." She looked at Marcus. He was standing tall despite the danger. He had crossed the stars for her. He had risked everything because he loved her, and she loved him too. She finally understood what that meant. Within minutes, the message spread through the palace. The queen was coming. Queen Mariva, ancient and terrible, would arrive soon. She would see her daughter standing beside a human. She would see the evidence of Vorthicon's betrayal. She would see everything. The world was about to change. Xylara took a deep breath. She was terrified. But Marcus was beside her. And for the first time in her life, she was not facing her fear alone. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. The throne room of Kethvaris was the heart of the Velanthy Empire. Crystal pillars rose toward a ceiling painted with star maps. Every noble house had sent representatives. The court watched in stunned silence as Princess Xylara stood beside a human, facing accusations of treachery. Queen Moriva sat upon her throne. She was ancient, her shell faded with age, but her eyes sharp as blades. She had ruled the empire for 300 years. She had seen wars, plagues, and the rise and fall of civilizations. Nothing surprised her anymore, until now. Xylara presented the evidence against Vorthicon. The data device projected communications, financial records, and testimony. The proof was undeniable. The High Commander had orchestrated the attack on the royal diplomatic ship. He had planned to kill Xylara and eventually the entire royal bloodline. Vorthicon stood rigid as the evidence mounted. He tried to deny it. He claimed the documents were human forgery. But human recording technology was known throughout the galaxy for being impossible to fake. The truth was clear. Queen Moriva raised one hand. Silence fell. "High Commander Vorthicon," she pronounced. "You are guilty of treason against the crown. You are sentenced to exile in the dark reaches, where you will live out your remaining years in isolation." The guards seized Vorthicon. He struggled and screamed threats, but it was useless. He was dragged from the throne room, his power destroyed in moments. But the queen was not finished. Her ancient eyes turned to Xylara and Marcus. The weight of her attention was suffocating. Now Queen Moriva said, "We address the greater concern. My daughter stands beside a human. She has developed attachment to him. This is visible to all. She has become something unrecognizable." Xylara stepped forward. "Mother, I can explain." "Explain?" The queen's voice was cold. "Our species does not bond with outsiders. Our species does not feel what you clearly feel. You have been contaminated. You are broken," the court murmured in agreement. Xylara felt the judgment pressing against her like physical force, but she did not retreat. "I am not broken," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I am changed." The court fell silent. No one spoke to the queen this way. "This human saved my life," Xylara continued. "Not for money. Not for power. Not for political advantage. He saved me because I was dying, and he could not let that happen. He acted from compassion. He acted from something we have forgotten how to feel." She looked at Marcus. He stood tall and steady, his eyes never leaving her face. He believed in her. He loved her. She drew strength from his presence. "Spent weeks with him aboard his ship," Xylara said. "I learned things about humans that changed me forever. They feel deeply. They break and rebuild. They hope even when logic tells them to despair. They love without calculation. They give without expecting return." She turned back to the queen. "We think ourselves superior. We call humans primitive and emotional. But look at what our superiority has created. Vorthicon was a perfect Valanthe, cold, calculating, without attachment or weakness, and he would have destroyed us all. The court shifted uneasily. Her words were striking too close to uncomfortable truths. Humans are not weak because they feel, Zalara declared. They are strong because they feel and survive anyway. They carry their hearts openly and continue forward despite the pain. I thought this was madness. Now I understand it is courage. She stepped closer to the throne. Her voice rose. Our empire is dying. Not from enemies outside, but from emptiness within. We calculate but do not feel. We exist but do not live. We have forgotten what it means to care about anything beyond power and survival. She gestured toward Marcus. What humans carry is not contamination. It is medicine. It is what we have lost. And perhaps if we are wise enough, we can learn it again. Silence filled the throne room. No one moved. No one breathed. Queen Moriva studied her daughter for a long, terrible moment. You would bond with this human? She asked finally. Formally. Before our people? You would abandon all tradition, all law, all propriety. Xylara straightened her shoulders. I would choose him. Not for alliance. Not for politics. For himself. That is the human way. That is what I have learned. And if I forbid it, if I exile you both, then I will go into exile with him. But I will not deny what I feel. I will not return to emptiness. The queen was silent. Seconds stretched into eternity. Then slowly, something changed in her ancient eyes. Something that might have been recognition. Something that might have been memory. Long ago, Queen Moriva said softly, before I was queen, I felt something similar. A connection that defied logic. I was young and foolish and full of impossible dreams. The court gasped. The queen never spoke of her past. I chose duty over that connection, she continued. I chose the empire over my heart. I have ruled for 300 years. I have maintained stability and power, but I have never forgotten what I sacrificed. I have never stopped wondering what might have been. She looked at Xylara with something that was almost warmth. We have something to learn from humans, after all, she raised her voice so the entire court could. Here, Princess Xylara will not be exiled. Her attachment to this human is unprecedented, but precedent is not law. The empire must evolve or die. Perhaps this is the beginning of that evolution. She looked at Marcus. Human, Marcus Cole. You risked everything to save my daughter. You came here knowing you might die. You showed loyalty and courage that many Valanthe lack. I recognize your value. Marcus bowed his head respectfully. I only did what was right, Your Majesty. That is exactly why you are valuable. The queen turned to the court. This human will be formally recognized by the Valanthe Empire. Not as servant or curiosity, but as chosen partner of a princess. The court exploded into whispers and shock. This had never happened. This was impossible, but the queen had spoken. Her word was law. In the following months, everything changed. Slowly, carefully, but inevitably. Marcus Cole became a bridge between species. Human emotional resilience, creativity, and capacity for connection began filtering into Valanthe society. Young Valanthe sought out humans for conversation. Artists began experimenting with expressing feelings. The cold walls around ancient hearts started to crack. The empire did not transform overnight. Change was gradual and often resisted, but it had begun. The thaw was real. 1 year after the throne room confrontation, Xylara and Marcus stood on a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. Stars filled the sky above them. 17 star systems glittered in the darkness. Xylara held the paper crane. It was worn from being touched so often, but still beautiful. Your people think I am strange, she said. My people think I'm the luckiest human alive, Marcus replied. She looked at him. This impossible man who had changed everything simply by being kind. I still do not fully understand hope, she admitted. I try, but it remains mysterious to me. Marcus took her hand. His touch was warm and gentle. "That's okay," he said. "You've got time to learn. We've got all the time in the universe." She leaned against him. She had never leaned against anyone before. It felt natural now. "Who are you, Marcus Cole?" she asked softly. "How did one human change so much? How did you change me?" Marcus smiled. It was the smile she had grown to love. Warm and honest and full of light. "I'm nobody special," he said. "Just a guy who saw someone in trouble and couldn't look away. Just a human who believes everyone deserves kindness. Just someone who fell in love with a princess from the stars." He lifted her hand and kissed it gently. "I'm yours," he said. "That's all that matters." Zalera looked at the stars. She thought about the journey that brought them here. The attack, the rescue, the long days aboard his little ship, the secrets and the fears and the impossible choice. She had been taught that emotions were weakness. She had been raised to be cold and perfect, but Marcus showed her the truth. Love was not weakness. Hope was not foolishness. Feeling deeply and surviving anyway was the greatest. Strength in the universe, humans were not primitive. They were extraordinary. And now, because of one human and one princess, two species were learning to see each other clearly for the first time. The future was uncertain. The path forward was unknown. But they would walk it together. And that was enough. That was everything.